There is an India that believes that it is the new order. And there is an India that lives behind a ridiculously drawn poverty line, on daily wages, in night shelters, with no access to education or healthcare, let alone access to courts. The ambivalence is intriguing, and this is exactly what I call as getting lost in transition. One India, in the above-mentioned perspective, is the vision, and to know how far we have succeeded in attaining this vision of justice is really a matter of perception. But nevertheless, there is a graphic disparity right there, and removing this disparity will be the mission for the Indian judiciary in times to come. And I may add that for that to happen, it is going to require a constitutional moment of its own kind in the life of this institution, which I believe has been long overdue. For the effectiveness of the judgments to show, the justice dispensation system has to be made more result-oriented, namely to say, more focused on enforcement. I understand what Mr. Arun Suri, he is not present today, had suggested when he wonders if the judiciary is not being an accessory to the resulting deterioration, which in its hopefulness and optimism doesn't go after its mandate till its implementation. We give it up halfway. I find it difficult to agree with Mr. Suri and his proposition wholeheartedly. But I will certainly say that the judiciary must be more proactive and more on the front foot. This is what I would call as redefining its role as an institution in the matter of enforcement and the efficacy of the spirit of its diktats, of course, subject to constitutional morality. Here, separation of powers. I'll even go ahead to say that the institution at all levels needs to be more dynamic in a matter of interpretation of laws. And this is what I mean to say by a constitutional moment of its own kind. However, it is going to be a tall order, both at the micro level and the macro level, because both come with their unique sets of challenges. By micro level, what I mean is the administration of justice on a day-to-day basis. Here, the so-called inefficiency and slow processes in the judiciary have been historical challenges. I'll put it very simply. The judiciary today is not a poor workman who blames his tools. It is a workman with no tools. I'm not going to keep you busy with the figures that we keep consuming every day on pendency, areas, judges' strength, etc. But in the light of what a French author had once said, I quote, "Everything has been said already, but as no one listens, we must begin again." I will only ask and request those at the helm to finally listen so that we must not have to begin again. In addition to that, I also feel that there is a pressing need to explore the endless limits of legal services mechanism. Legal awareness and legal empowerment of the marginalized in this vastly unequal society of ours have to be made an observable reality. Let me give you one instance which is glaring insofar as personal liberty is concerned. 67% of the prison population in India are under trials, most belonging to the absolutely underprivileged classes. 47 of the 67% are between the age group of 80 to 30. Compare this with the UK, where the percentage is 7. And the US, which is acknowledged to have a high rate of incarceration, the percentage there is 22. The period of about 1 year that a majority of the under trials have been in custody would hardly redeem the situation. Will it be wrong to suggest that a fair share of a demographic dividend is being unjustifiably lodged in jails, and mostly for petty or less serious offenses? I call the young population of India 18 to 30, which constitutes more than 50% of the population, as our demographic dividend. They are an asset. At the macro level, the judiciary as an institution is being seen as a course corrector, a leveler, a democratizer of sorts. And since it is too well known that our country is on the cusp of an evolution, naturally, it will have implications for the judiciary as an institution also. I would like you to recall that I had mentioned about Hamilton in the beginning of the discourse. While contemplating the US Constitution, he had said, the judiciary is the weakest of the three branches because it neither has the force of the executive nor the will of the legislature, but only judgments. This, and which I agree, he said, was the simple view of the matter. Correct. But there is a complex view also. The complex view is this. And this is something that Hamilton was envisaged and foresaw 2 centuries ago. He had said that while civil liberties will have nothing to fear from the judiciary alone, they will have everything to fear from the union of the judiciary with either of the 2 branches. I would like to believe this is why Ramnath ji had also said that fierce independence is indeed the bedrock of justice. But I'd like to add that independence must always be responsible with due regard to established constitutional values. This institution, the judiciary, is the last bastion of hope and the one that the citizenry believes firmly will give justice to them, come what may. And it has. The judiciary, with whatever little it has at its hand, has been a proud guardian of the great constitutional vision. It fills me with immense pride to see that an institution, as an institution, the judiciary has been endowed with the greatest societal trust. This fact gives it credibility, and this very credibility gives it legitimacy. It is a very enviable spot for an institution. I'll only say that if it wishes to preserve its moral and institutional leverage, the judiciary must remain uncontaminated and independent and fierce, and at all times. A chain is only as strong as its weakest link, so is an institution. And if introspection is where we have to begin, we might as well begin there. Perhaps we can hope and endeavor that in the future, it is not our finality, but our infallibility that should define us. It is my imagination of an ideal world, and I am aware of what Carl Jung has said of it. He said, I quote, "Every form of addiction is bad, no matter whether narcotic be alcohol, morphine, or idealism." I don't know how true his views are on alcohol and morphine, but as far as idealism is concerned, I would say it should be pursued like an axiom. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your patience.